So I know you had some big news today where you mentioned you took over Times Square here in New York.
For a couple of hours.
Before we get to that, though, I know that you had to close down some destinations during the hurricane, reroute some of your ships. Did you get a lot of cancellations during this time? What's going on?
Well, of course, during the hurricane itself, obviously we had to cancel some cruises. But most of the destinations in the Caribbean are unaffected. But of course, those areas that are affected, our condolences and our support to those people on those islands that were affected. But there's over 40 islands in the Caribbean that were unaffected. So the Southern Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, and many places in the Eastern Caribbean are still available, unaffected. And we have 20 ships there right now, filled with guests, having fun and having a great time, and beautiful beaches, sun, lots of excursions. So,
but are you going? Are you back on your original routes though, or is that
many of the routes are still the same routes? We obviously had to change a few routes because there were places impacted. I was in St. Martin's myself a few days after the hurricane hit there. The people are resilient. They're filled with energy and optimism. You can see the changes in time. Lewis hit there a number of years ago. Took 3 months for the power to be back up. This time in the Dutch side of the island, I'd say most of the districts were up with power a few days after the hurricane. So the ability to recover is much stronger. So I think those places will be back up probably even before Christmas, if not before that, and soon thereafter, if not by Christmas time, for the peak season. But there's so many places to go. So we're sailing full and people are having fun.
Right, we're just about coming up to, I can't believe this, the wave season again, right? Which is the time when everyone books their cruises. In fact, we're going to book ours as well.
All right, Betty, good job, good job.
And I know that, you and I have talked a lot about some of the challenges in the cruise industry, right? Particularly here in the U.S. I know we're going to talk about Asia in a moment, but in the U.S., there is this, again, the image issue of the cruise industry. I know you've done a lot. You've been on the forefront of that. I think technology is a big part of that, right?
It is.
So today you talked about this big activation in New York, bringing on stronger Wi-Fi on your cruise ships. How is this going to make a difference?
Well, today we did a number of things. We launched Ocean View, which is our new digital streaming platform. So we have shows on major networks here in the U.S. We also have shows in the U.K. and Italy and other places. But here in the U.S., and those shows will now, you can binge watch them on a digital streaming channel. We have our own digital streaming channel available on Apple, available on Roku, available on Amazon Fire. Other content on there is we have some digital shows specifically produced, small bites.
The Next Love Boat?
Not the Next Love Boat, but great destinations, great guest experience, great culture immersion things, great human spirit and human adventure features. And then we have lots of content from all of our brands, our 9 world-leading cruise line brands, ship namings, ship construction, special events. And so that's available. We also launched our mobile gaming platform, Play Ocean. You guys say Bloomberg anywhere. We say Play Ocean everywhere. So it's on the ships and it's on land.
But is this the new way, Arnold, for cruises, for cruise companies to connect to millennials, right? I mean, is this what the millennials are asking you before they get onto your ships?
I think that millennials obviously over-index on consuming digital. But frankly, everyone's consuming digital content. And similarly for mobile gaming, millennials may over-index in gaming, but frankly, everyone does. And the games on our Play Ocean platform are also available on our ships for real money. On land is for clams, it's for fun. But when you get on the ships, is for real dollars and cents. And so it's just a great experience. Meanwhile, what you asked about, Medallion Net. And that's in our partnership with SES. We will have the best Wi-Fi at sea, no question about it. Also part of this overall ocean platform.
All right, so that's your market here in the U.S. I want to talk about China. You and I have talked quite a bit before about how big the Chinese market is for cruise operators. And I know you just launched the Majestic Princess, I think, back in March, which is the first.
Gongzhou.
Oh, your Chinese is good. That's great. That's great, Arnold. So that was a cruise ship that's tailor-made for the Chinese consumer. I just want to point to a chart here. This is back in 2015, Arnold, but it just shows you, the incredible number of Chinese citizens who travel abroad, but the incredibly small number who actually go on board and take cruises.
Right.
How much of your business is going to head over to China, given these numbers?
Well, I think it's how many Chinese are going to head over to sail on cruise ships. The reality is we have large addressable markets everywhere in the world. They're all underpenetrated, so we only have so many ships. So while we have 6 ships home ported in China, that's a very small number to address all of those outbound tourists. So the number's going to stay small.
Okay.
And we're similar to other people in the industry. So all of the cabins in the world added up together represent less than 2% of the hotel rooms. So we don't have a lot of ships. And so it's going to take a while to build, which is why we have a partnership with CSSC, the big ship building entity in China, and I have ordered through that partnership the first ship to be built in China, which hopefully will be available in 2023.
Are you worried, though, about some of the tensions going on in Asia and some of the travel restrictions you're seeing because of, because
anything that restricts travel for us obviously is not good
for our business?
Is that impacting business? It can impact business, absolutely. But the reality is, in a global world, we face these things every year: typhoons, hurricanes, cyclones, geopolitical tensions. Somebody decides their citizenry, they recommend not to go certain places. So that happens every year. So does it affect us? Yes. But in the scheme of our overall business, including the hurricanes, despite the hurricanes and the 10 to 12 cent impact from them, we were able to raise our guidance for the full year because we have a global portfolio. Our assets are mobile. So yes, obviously it would be much better if everybody was open to everybody. And we think it's a better world when people travel and get to know each other.